Hi everyone, and welcome to the first panel event of the Cyber Skills Pathway. We're looking today at the 4 institutes that offer cybersecurity across Canberra, and we're really lucky to have 4 incredibly interesting panelists to talk to you today about how you choose where to study. So today we have with us, we have Barkett Ullah, who is the Associate Professor of Cybersecurity at the University of Canberra. We have Alwyn Tu, the Associate Professor at the College of Engineering and Computer Sciences at the Australian National University. Tony Munch, who is the Acting Director of CIT, Technology and Design, and Nigel Fair, who is the Enterprise Director of UNSW Institute of Cyber. Welcome everybody, thank you for being with us today.
A pleasure, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So one of the wonderful things I love about cyber in Canberra, and especially our educational institutions, is that you all have quite different focus on the areas of cybersecurity and the kinds of students that come and study at your campuses. So what I'd like to do is understand what sort of study pathways are available for the students and why they would choose your campuses individually. So I might start with you if I can, Barkett. What options do you have available for students who are looking to study cybersecurity in Canberra?
Thank you, Brianna. University of Canberra, we have got several qualifications. If you think about bachelor degree, we have got Bachelor of Information Technology, Bachelor of Software Engineering, Business Informatics. All this bachelor degree has a specialist major, which is the Cybersecurity and System Administration. In the master's level, we have got Masters of IT, Information Technology and Systems, and also Business Informatics. These 3 master's programs and also have a major in cybersecurity. We have designed a new program recently, which is the Graduate Certificate in Cybersecurity Management, which is also focusing on the soft skills of cybersecurity management, not the core technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan, we might jump over to you at the Australian National University. What sort of cybersecurity pathways have you got available?
Thank you. So cybersecurity at ANU is done through the major, the cybersecurity major, that's available to all the bachelor degree programs at the School of Computing. So we're talking about technical cybersecurity. So I'm not discussing about the National Security College, which is an entirely different aspects of cybersecurity. So within the bachelor's in the bachelor degrees Computer Science, we have the Bachelor of Advanced Computing and the Bachelor of Advanced Computing with the R&D branch and the Bachelor of Information Technology. So at ANU, the focus is a lot more on research-led education. So there's a lot of emphasis on strong foundations in computer science, followed up by research projects in cybersecurity. And another unique aspect that I like to emphasize is that we, starting perhaps a couple of years ago, we had a collaboration with the ASD. So we established the ASD ANU CoLab, which will benefit from our collaborations, mentoring from the ASD experts.
Fantastic, thank you. That sounds really interesting. I'd like to hear a little bit more about the ASD CoLab as well. So we might move now though into Nigel Fair. So UNSW has a campus here in Canberra, and obviously you have a focus on with the Institute of Cyber. So can you tell me a little bit about what you have available?
Yeah, thanks, Brianna. So we're at the Australian Defence Force Academy. So our undergraduates in cyber are only those going into the Defence Force as trainee officers. But what we do have a focus on for external people is our master's programs. So we have 3 masters, one which is very technical, and it's a Masters of Cyber Operations. We also have a Master of Cybersecurity, and then we also have a policy-focused degree, which is Strategy and Diplomacy. Across the breadth of those units, you can do a range of lab-based units where we have a combination of an industry professional co-teaching with an academic, all the way through to pure policy units that you can undertake.
Thank you. And last but not least, of course, we have Tony from CIT with the vocational stream on cybersecurity. Could you tell us a little about the Certificate 4 that you have available, Tony?
Certainly, thanks, Brianna. At CIT, students have a range of options. They can commence at a Cert 3 level or have a direct entry into our Certificate 4 in the cybersecurity qualification. Look, it's a role that reflects the roles of individuals who are competent in a range of information and communication technology, including basic cyber awareness, digital media skills, general IT support services, networking, programming, systems and web development. On completion of a Certificate 4 in cybersecurity, a graduate would be able to monitor the risks of cybersecurity attacks, implement appropriate software, use a range of tools and procedures to mitigate cybersecurity threats, protect an organisation from insider security breaches, and develop systems to minimise network vulnerabilities and risks. The program runs over 2 semesters full-time with approximately about 15 hours engagement per week, and it does have a heavy focus on the practical skills as well as the technical skills.
Thanks, Tony. That was awesome. So what we're looking at now is why students would choose a particular campus. So if we're looking at each of the 4 institutes that we have on the screen, the different kinds of focus that you have within your own cybersecurity pathways, what sort of students are your target audience? Can we start with you, Alwyn?
So at ANU, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of focus on research aspect, and we want to teach students, give students really good foundations. In particular, we want them to be able to create tools for cybersecurity discovery, vulnerability discovery, not just using tools. And that emphasis on being able to create software artifacts that then people can use to help their daily software engineering, reverse engineering analysis, and malware analysis. That's the kind of education that we put a lot of emphasis on, and this is reflected in some of our courses. For example, we have a course on software security, which puts a lot of emphasis on binary reverse engineering. So we actually take apart programs without knowing the source code and try to discover there is a backdoor implanted, or how do we tell that this is behaving maliciously, and so on. And a lot of interesting parts actually happening at the foundation level to be able to discover new malwares in the 0 days, that's what we call it in cybersecurity. You need a very deep understanding of how different parts of the system works, from the hardware level, operating system, software level. And there's a lot of emphasis that our students have these strong foundations in the system aspects. And that's sort of where we're focusing on. On the sort of more the higher level research ends, we also have courses on cryptography. So that involves a lot of mathematics and formal methods, verifications, that type of sort of high-end research, the research end of the topics in cybersecurity. So in short, in brief, if you would like to be involved in the cutting edge of vulnerability discovery and creating tools to respond to the latest threat in cybersecurity, I think ANU should provide you a good pathway. I mean, we're not saying that by starting at ANU suddenly you become an expert and finding kernel bugs and stuff like that, but it does give you strong foundations that when you join the industry, you'll be able to develop on that foundation that you have at ANU.
Excellent, thank you. That was really great. Barker, what about UC? What sort of students are you looking for to come through your cyber pathway?
Thank you, Brianna. For our graduate certificate in cybersecurity management, this cohort is perfect for the working professionals at all levels across the wide range of legal, government, operations, technology, and more. This qualification is best suited for anyone who is managing the data privacy issues, business process, systems, risk of cyber attacks. Now, there are 4 units over there. We talk about the ecosystem, we talk about the governance and law side. Students will be working to know about the infrastructure tools and also how they manage the people during the cybersecurity crisis. This program is 8 weeks long. Then if you think about the undergrad, the bachelor degree program, we'll be expecting year 12 with students who have got very good problem solving skills, who are good in details, very good communicator, because sometimes cybersecurity is not only we are dealing with the machines, we are also dealing with the people. Few units will be covering about the security and support in IT. Some of them will be covering about the digital forensics. We will be also covering the information security, system administration, So who are very good in problem solving, like math, like programming, like communication. I think that would be good for these qualifications. If you think about the masters, we'll be expecting they have already completed their bachelor degree in a suitable qualification and then move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Barkit. Now, Tony, obviously we're looking with vocational studies. Is an entirely different sort of student often that can be looking through the university pathway. Can you let us know a little bit more about what the CIT students would be looking for?
Yes, certainly, Brianna. At CIT, our Certificate 4 offers a commencement into industry or certainly a pathway to higher level studies. We have a strong focus on practical and hands-on job-ready skills. So anybody who completes the Certificate 4 is well positioned to commence in industry. Students that come to CIT will be working in an industry simulated environment. We have specialist labs within our network infrastructure. We utilise virtual machinery as part of our learning activities. And students gain a rich practical skill base from those applications. We've also established strong relationships within the cybersecurity industry with a strong focus on further education and career opportunities. All our teachers are highly qualified in the cyber field. They all hold current vendor certification, and most of them still engage in industry at some point in time to ensure they have a currency of skills that maps across to what industry needs when these students graduate and enter the workforce. We also provide flexibility in our delivery. Most of our students do engage in a full-time mode, but there's a possibility to do it on a part-time or a flexible study pathway as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And coming to Nigel, ENSW. Now, obviously with an ADFA stream, you obviously have a very specific student in mind.
Yeah, thanks, Brianna. So we have over 400 students in our master's programs, and a little over half of those are from defence. So the other part are people from here, there, and everywhere, predominantly those with an undergraduate degree that are mid-career and are studying part-time. What draws them to our university essentially is that combination of postgraduate academic rigour combined with a hands-on experience. And whether that's through the labs, whether it's learning red teaming, whether it's learning blue teaming, incident response, wireless, all those chunky, really juicy technical things that getting people job ready and out there working in consultancies, in government and across the board.
Great, thank you. Now, I guess what we want to move on to now is each of you have obviously studied and taught in cybersecurity for quite a while, looking at what exactly it is that a prospective student is looking to enter the cybersecurity, the study pathway or the workforce. One thing that they could take away or one thing they should know before they actually start their study pathway. So we might start this time with Barkit.
Thank you, Brianna. From my point of view, cybersecurity is a broader area. It has got technical aspect and non-technical aspect. Like when we are talking about technical aspect, we talk about attack and defenses, where the non-technical aspect is human-related issues, organizational issues, regulatory aspect. So students who are from any side, as long as they are keen into details, they are very good in problem solving, puzzle solving, trying to find out the missing gaps, or who are very good in programming, they can be participating in one side, like this attack and defense side. On the other hand, those who are very good in cryptography, or they're thinking about law, regulatory requirements, have good communication skills, they're going to be playing very important role, the other side of cybersecurity. So I would suggest like anyone who is passionate to work in this area should be able to join this industry and education.
Okay, thank you. Alwyn?
So I've taught cybersecurity courses for a number of years now. And what I find invariably is that some students come with certain expectations. So some got really scared in the beginning because probably there's a perception that, cyber is like, you have to get into these really complex systems and a lot of hackings and figuring things out. But what ends up happens usually is, students who are willing to learn and to change their mindset. So I think that's the most difficult part, which is teaching the students how to think in an unconventional ways. So instead of looking at a piece of software or a system and ask, what is this supposed to do? You ask what it can do. And it's changing this mindset that's usually the hardest part. And it doesn't really depend on how intelligent you are. It's just a particular conditioning that you have in the beginning. So sometimes we found that students with no backgrounds in programming probably did a bit better, or sometimes much better than students who came with a lot of preconceptions about how system works and probably less open-minded compared to others. So I think, so my message, I guess, for the prospective students is that, cybersecurity is just like any other fields. It can be learned. So there is no particular barriers as long as you're willing to work hard, and foundations is important. So you still need to go through all the foundational courses in computer science, and knowledge of the domain of applications is just as important. So cyber is not something that is magical. Somehow you can break into a system without knowing the system, right? So if you want to break into the banking system or defend a banking system, you actually have to know how banking works. And I agree with what Barkat said, that there are many aspects to cybersecurity, not just technical. So even knowledge of how systems, society works, psychology, linguistic, that can all be very useful. And I can tell you, for example, with this collaboration with ASD Collabs, we were looking at students from different disciplines. Linguistics is one of them, psychology is another. So it's not just purely technical aspects. So I guess, my message is that, don't be scared. Cyber is just as any other topic. It can be learned if you're willing to put the work into that.
Thank you. And not that, of course, that we're advocating for people to break into banking systems. Nigel, I will come to you next.
Look, thanks, Brianna. And look, cybersecurity is genuinely multidisciplinary. There is a role for everyone from every background. Wherever you think you've come from, this is available for you. To echo my co-speakers, the only way we're going to win as an Australian society is to get a wide range and diverse range of people, and the backgrounds of thinking, the way they approach problem solving. That's the way how we're going to win. So we want everyone to think that they've got a role when it comes to cybersecurity. Indeed, there are many jobs with very different and varied role aspects, whether they're technical, non-technical, or a range of those too. I think when people start looking at where to come to study in Canberra, you've heard from all of my co-speakers, we've all got something that little bit different to offer. And I've often been said that we actually don't compete as four institutions. I think we can work really collaborative. And I'd be looking at where you want to end your career in, and what institution you should pick that will get you there the best. And that might be a pathway. So for example, of course, we'd love anyone that's got an undergraduate degree, whether that's from University of Canberra or ANU. But then when we also look at pathways, CIT's graduate certificate, we RPL a chunk of that into our master's program. So there's a lot available for students when they come to Canberra across the institutions.
And coming now to Tony, so what piece of advice would you have for a student that's looking to start their cybersecurity pathway?
Thanks, Brianna. Look, I think as the other co-host has said today, there are such a wide variety of opportunities. What you'll get and what you might consider about commencing at the Cert 4 level is look at it as a commencement point. And I think it's important that you think about the range of employment opportunities that are available to you. And certainly a starting point at a Cert 4 would set you up to work in a cybersecurity paraprofessional context around a computer help desk technician, cybersecurity intrusion tester, support officer, penetration tester, systems tester, PC support, or network security support officer. And I think if you entered your learning journey with an understanding that there are numerous opportunities available to you, it's an industry with countless pathways, and the Cert 4 might just be a good starting point for you to go to a higher level education, or potentially go into industry straight away and then do some further studies later.
Thank you for that, Tony. So what we've seen today, I think, is that we can look at cybersecurity as a journey. You can start at somewhere like CIT or start at one of the undergraduate degrees, but you can also move that forward into a lot of different areas, whether it's research, hands-on, attack and defend, many different areas within cybersecurity. So I think one of the great questions is why someone who's interested in cybersecurity would choose Canberra as a place that they study, and why each of the institutions. We'll start with Barker. Why would a student choose UC?
Okay, thank you, Brianna, for that. UC is one of the very young universities in the world. I think this year we have ranked 10th university in Australia. In comparison to the graduate employment, some say we are number 1 in ACT for graduate employment. I'm just kidding. But our strengths are actually the hands-on experience, the curriculum development. We work with the industry, we work with the accredited body like Australian Computer Society, Engineers Australia. We also have the work integrated learning and internship, where the students are able to work their capstone project or the internship working the real work problem, which could be located in the Canberra startup companies or the private IT companies, sometimes with the Commonwealth or also the big 4 like PwC, Deloitte. So these experiences make the program very unique. We also have the student clubs where the students, they engage among themselves, like UC Engineering Society, UC Information Technology Student Association, UC Student Developers Organization. And sometimes this cross-pollination makes them more employable, more job ready for the workforce. And also in the master's level and the postgrad level, we have got strong industry collaboration for the research side. So I think that gives UC a tick for the potential candidates.
Thank you, Bucket. Alan, moving on to you. So again, we're talking about Canberra being a wonderful place to study cybersecurity. Why do you think that a student should choose Canberra and then choose ANU for their study path?
Well, I think Canberra is very well placed for the cybersecurity industry because of its, this is the capital of Australia. There's a lot of defense-related industries built around Canberra. Also, we have a lot of talents here in Canberra. We have, 4 great institutions here where you can draw expertise from, and also the fact that, so for ANU specifically, we are one of the best universities in Australia. I would say perhaps, top 5, I think, both in research and teaching. And another thing that we touched on earlier, all the co-hosts, is that the fact that cybersecurity, covers a lot of aspects, not just about the IT system, computer systems. And so the good thing at ANU is that we have a lot of world experts in different areas for which you could, just drop by their office and just pick their brains on various aspects in machine learning, linguistics, psychology, politics, you name it. And I think that makes ANU a very good place for students who are looking into sort of expanding the frontier of cyber security, both on the offensive and defensive side. And obviously, with these collaborations with ASD, we additionally will have the benefits of further mentoring from the real experts in the field, provided you're Australian citizens. And
of course, tick the first box for cybersecurity. Thank you, Alwyn. Tony, coming to you now. Why do you think a student would choose Canberra and also choose CIT?
Certainly. Look, I think Canberra is a great choice for any students looking at studying cyber. We're at the epicentre, where the capital. We have all the federal, Commonwealth, or most of the federal and Commonwealth agencies working out of Canberra. We have close links to that and access to those areas. We have the Australian Federal Police based in Canberra, so very closely aligned to a lot of cyber activity, a lot of innovation in Canberra, a lot of emerging companies, new opportunities, and the fact that Canberra is just a great city. It's accessible. you know, but it offers big city services, but it's quite accessible for anybody living in Canberra. Why would somebody consider coming? Why would a student consider coming to CIT? Look, I really think our strengths sit in our strong focus on practical work-ready skills. If you're ready to get into the industry, we can provide you the skills to get a foot in the door and start your learning journey and your pathway through cyber. We have strong industry contacts and great involvement with industry specialists, professional teachers, a range of delivery options, great student support services, and a student association, a CIT student association, which can help you with all aspects of your study. So some great reasons to come to Canberra to study cyber, and some great reasons to start your learning at CIT.
Thank you, Tony. And lastly, Nigel, I know that you've got a very good view on why Canberra is so great for a cybersecurity industry.
I'm going to echo my co-panelists. Canberra is great personally and professionally, with a lot of opportunities for both aspects. But of course, UNSW, we're based at the Australian Defence Force Academy, so we obviously work hand in glove with defence and defence industry. Our multidisciplinary research approach, working collaboratively with other parts of the university, for example, our Defence Research Institute, really opens up doors to get into the big, meaty issues that are facing society and national security today. We run a range of degree programs, we have short courses, and we also have Masters by Research.
Now, after the conclusion of the panels today, we're going to have some representatives from each of the university and the CIT in the lounges who are going to be able to answer your questions, either about the study opportunities they have available, or possibly even the things that they have done in cybersecurity, if you're interested about that too. So if you head over to the lounges after the commencement of the 3 panels, you'll actually be able to speak to somebody live around that. So thank you very much, everybody, for your participation today. I'm really pleased that you're all here and be able to speak to our hopefully prospective students and workforce in cybersecurity. Is there anything that you wanted to have one last final statement on cybersecurity, on Canberra, on any of those sorts of things? I'll open up the floor.
I would say be passionate, be professional, and believe in your dream. You will make it possible.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Parkit.
The only thing I'll add is having an inquiring mind.
I was just about to say that, Nigel. Agree 100%.
Fantastic. Again, thank you so much, Parkit, Alwyn, Tony, and Nigel for being here today. I hope everybody watching that you got something valuable out of today's conversation. And as I said, there will be somebody live in the lounges after 5:15 to have a chat with you about your cybersecurity study pathways. Thank you so much from AustCyber and from each of the institutions here.